What is the second key to living a joy-filled life? If we want to live a joy-filled life, then we must practice the presence of God in all we do. In the mental equivalent, Emmett Fox says, "We are interested supremely in one subject. One thing means more to us than all the other things in the world put together, our search for God and the understanding of God's nature. The aim of the metaphysical movement is to teach the practice of the presence of God. We practice the presence of God by seeing God everywhere, in all things, and in all people, despite appearances to the contrary. Jesus Christ taught us, saying, 'Do not judge by appearances, but judge with right judgment.' So, when we see the appearance of evil, we look through it to the truth that lies beyond it. As soon as we see this truth and see it spiritually, the appearance changes. When we practice the presence of God, we live a joy-filled life. If you ask people, 'How are you?' while they're at work, most people will say something like, 'I'll be better when I leave here.' Or something very close to that. Most people will actually whine because they have to go to work instead of shouting for joy because they have a job to do. But when we practice the presence of God everywhere, we see and sense the presence of God everywhere. We see how our jobs bless us and how we bless our world because of the work we do. And whenever we live in the understanding and awareness of the blessings that we have, in the blessings that we are to the world, we are filled with joy. Although our jobs may be a good place for us to start, we are not limited to practicing the presence of God at work. We are given opportunities all day long, every day of our lives, to know and to experience something better. As Shakespeare's Hamlet said, "There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so." Which brings me to the third key to living a joy-filled life. Remember, it is always a choice we get to make, and no one can make the choice for us but us. To illustrate the power of your ability to choose joy in all you do, I want to tell you a story about a man named Michael. Now, Michael is the kind of guy people love to hate. He is always in a good mood and always has something positive to say. When someone asks him how he is doing, he replies, "If I were any better, I'd be twins." He's a natural motivator. If an employee of his is having a bad day, Michael is always there telling the employee how to look on the positive side of the situation. Now, Bill, one of Michael's employees, asked him one day, "I don't get it. You can't be a positive person all of the time. How do you do it?" Michael replied, "Every morning I wake up and say to myself, 'Mike, you have two choices today. You can choose to be in a good mood, or you can choose to be in a bad mood. I choose to be in a good mood. Every time something bad happens, I can choose to be a victim, or I can choose to learn from it. I choose to learn from it. Every time someone comes to me complaining, I can choose to accept their complaining, or I can point out the positive side of life. I choose the positive side of life." Yeah, right. It isn't that easy, Bill protested. Yes, it is, Michael said. Life is all about choices. When you cut away all the junk, every situation is a choice. You choose how to react to situations. You choose how people will affect your mood. You choose to be in a good mood or bad mood. The bottom line is, it's your choice how you live life. Bill thought about what Michael said. Soon, however, he started his own business. They lost touch, but he often thought about Michael when he made a choice about life instead of reacting to it. Several years later, Bill heard that Michael was involved in a serious accident, falling some 60 feet from a communications tower. After 18 hours of surgery and weeks of intensive care, Michael was released from the hospital with rods placed in his back. Bill saw Michael about 6 months after the accident. When Bill asked Michael how he was, he replied, "If I were any better, I'd be twins. Want to see the scars?" Bill declined to see his wounds, but did ask him what had gone through his mind as the accident took place. "The first thing that went through my mind was the well-being of my soon-to-be-born daughter," Michael replied. "Then, as I lay on the ground, I remembered that I had two choices. I could choose to live, or I could choose to die. I chose to live." "Well, weren't you scared? Did you lose consciousness?" Bill asked. Michael continued. "The paramedics were great. They kept telling me I was going to be fine. But when they wheeled me into the ER and I saw the expressions on the faces of the doctors and nurses, I got really scared. In their eyes, I read, he's a dead man for sure. I knew I needed to take action. There was a nurse shouting questions at me," said Michael. "She asked if I was allergic to anything." "Yes," I replied. The doctors and nurses all stopped working as they waited for my reply. I took a deep breath and yelled, "I'm allergic to gravity!" Over their laughter, I told them, "I am choosing to live. Operate on me as if I am alive, not as if I'm dead."